No? You guys weren't into it?
Huh?
Oh, this is awesome.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I normally get.
That you're awesome, or this is awesome, or
I'm awesome.
oh,
No,
you
you're
are.
not, dude. Don't lie.
Are you talking to yourself?
I don't know who I'm talking to.
You said I'm awesome, and then you said no, you're not.
Whoa,
Dude.
whoa! What the fuck?
Huh?
Matt sent me something, Steve.
Yeah.
Oh,
Something happened and it's cool.
Ooh, yeah, that is kind of cool.
Isn't that cool?
That is pretty cool.
it's awesome. If I ever knew what you were talking about.
Oh, and
it's visual.
it's even the right. Yeah. That is cool. Yeah, that's cool. Very awesome. I like that. A shark recreated the iconic pose from Jaws, Steve.
Oh,
They caught it.
Cool.
On camera. So,
awesome.
Does that make you feel better about everything, Steve?
I've never watched Jaws, but
oh my gosh,
it's the truth.
I know it is.
So, yeah. So
I have seen Sharknado.
Steve, I need to ask you a question.
What?
You a big fucking Ian Ziering fan, are you?
Was he in Sharknado?
Oh my gosh.
If he was, then yes. I didn't see Sharknado.
Matt, will you dress him down for a moment?
Can we get like some of those big cushiony punching gloves? Like just rope her off for one time.
You know what we need to get? You remember those friggin' Hulk smash gloves?
Yeah.
You know what those are worth on eBay right now?
You and I get the two.
No, Steve, we don't know what they're worth on eBay right now.
Those Hulks, the ones that make sound, those are worth some good money.
Of course, he goes there.
But I'm just saying. I know
what. So anyway, I would like to do a test tonight, gentlemen, before we start the show. Yeah, live.
Ooh.
Live.
Is it multiple choice?
It could be multiple choice. Let me point. let me point.
D is usually all the above.
At the post. The show link here, gentlemen. Because I forgot to do that. We're a bit behind tonight because somebody's an old man.
Well, Dean will be patient.
No, yeah. He's probably already in there. I mean, I haven't looked yet, so I couldn't tell you. But yeah. So boom. Okay, and I need to bring this up. So we're gonna do a little test before we do the intro to the show, and I would like to see if this works. So I need you guys to tell me if you can hear this. I'm going to mute my microphone and see if the production pieces will still play. Affirmative?
No. Unaffirmative.
Did you do it?
No, I'm asking you guys if you understand.
I was going to say, no, we didn't hear a damn thing except silence.
I'll do it right now.
What?
Go.
You going to do it or not?
Did he fall out of his chair?
Did you play you heard the scream?
Well, yeah. Are you okay?
Jesus, Steve. You're like a fucking child.
I'm curious. I'm
you're like Curious fucking George. A pain in the goddamn ass.
I don't know.
Hey, Steve.
How much do the Curious George books go for on eBay, you fuck?
Well, it's a first edition. It might
does Curious George have a tail?
No.
Are you sure?
Well, he has a story, if that's what you mean, as in tail. I'm going to look it up right now.
That's a new Mandela effect thing. If Curious George has a tail or not.
He's never had a tail.
I'm just saying it's a thing.
It's a new Mandela effect thing. That's all he's telling you, Steve.
No.
Steve, calm down.
Oh, wait, he does have a tail.
Steve.
Never mind. I was wrong. He does that. Wait, sometimes he does and sometimes he doesn't.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You sure, Steve?
Well, for a quick Google image search, I see tail, and then I see no tail. But I don't think he ever had a tail.
That's not a Google image search.
That's right.
No, he does not have a tail.
Oh. All right. Can we start the show now?
Oh,
No. Are you sure? I mean, are we good?
mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Because I think I'm going to start the show now. I think, if that's okay.
Go for it.
All right. Let's do this thing, Steve.
Steve Alcorn's a fine investigator.
Oh, fuck off.
This is the Fortean Slip with your host, Chris York.
I don't need porn, Chris. I have a good woman.
Listen, I have a good woman. I still watch porn.
Co-host, Steve Alcorn.
You are the top shit in Bigfootery if you get the invitation.
Oh, are
I've gotten the invitation 2 years in a row now, Chris.
Wow. Not me.
And sometimes special guest, Matt Knapp.
It's growing older, you know? Maturing. Making me more dignified and stuff.
Okay, George Washington.
I opted for the
Isn't that what meth addicts say?
That make me more dignified. Taking on all things strange since 2013.
Wait a minute.
I don't know what the hell.
Are you saying that he's pregnant?
Possibly.
Was he implanted by one of these teenage aliens?
Did that happen to Arnold?
This device, which comes as part of Nintendo's Quality of Life initiative, is
Going to have kids running around banging their heads off bricks.
Yeah.
You're about to witness the strength of creep knowledge.
Good evening, and welcome to the Fortean Slip. This is episode 76, Alien Abductions and Strange Disappearances. The other night, I was introduced to a strange abduction I had not heard before in my life, and I was, needless to say, a little baffled, a little thrown off, Steve.
yeah.
A little, this is interesting. You ever get those moments, Steve?
Yeah, I read a story today about this guy who went missing.
Fuck off. That's the story I sent to you.
Oh,
What do you got, fucking Thanksgiving dinner going on?
listen, I have a life that involves other things than this show, and it just happens to be going on without me outside the door.
Oh. Oh.
What do you want me to do about it?
I Steve,
Do
I'm
you
just
want me to
asking.
tell everybody between the hours of 6 and 7 on Sunday nights, you got to be quiet?
That's what I do.
That's what I do as well.
Oh,
I actually kicked my family out of the house tonight.
I'm not going to try that.
Yeah.
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 So if we just keep talking, it'll drown them out.
Bring him on in, Steve. You know, why not?
Line them up.
Let's introduce the folks.
It's my wife's son,
Yeah.
he's not here. He lives in Columbus, so he's not here very often. So he just happened to pop in.
Pop
So,
in.
you know, and he's got this deep voice that carries, and that's why you can hear him.
Yes.
I mean, I'll
You
turn
guys
the gain down. Or something.
celebrating Cinco de Mayo?
Yes, that's it.
Not the Revenge of the Fifth.
Oh, you just blew the whole joke.
What? What joke did I blow?
The one that Matt was going to do.
Matt was doing a joke?
I think so.
Were you doing a
No,
joke?
I wasn't.
Oh, I think he was going to.
No,
Steve,
no.
Steve,
Well,
calm down, Steve.
because yesterday was May the 4th.
I can see where you might think that I was going to, but actually I had no intentions of it.
Uh-huh.
I was stopping at Cinco de Mayo.
Okay.
He was cutting his losses
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
right there.
'cause
Me, I went for it.
right. I see.
Do you understand what happened there, Steve?
I do.
All right. I just wanted to make sure you were all up to speed because that makes it funnier.
It does make it funny.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Steve, you obviously get a chance to look over the article that I sent you.
I did.
Yes, and what did you think of said article? Without going into any great detail yet, what did you think about this strange disappearance? Like, where did it put your headspace?
Without going into any great detail, it was a
Yes.
strange disappearance.
Yes.
You said not to go into any detail.
Yeah. Don't go into any great detail. Just say
It was strange. There.
it's just strange. That's
No,
all. That's all you got.
No, it's weird.
And other synonyms for the word strange.
Well, thank you for your
interesting,
unexplainable, amazing input.
Peculiar, bizarre,
peculiar. That's a good one.
mysterious.
No,
So to bring everybody up to speed, the disappearance that I'm talking about is the disappearance of Steven I think it's Kubacki.
Kubacki?
I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Steve Kubacki.
Bukaki, yes, Steve Bukaki, the man who invented Bukaki porn.
no, that's not. No,
Kobayashi.
Yes, Kobe. Yes, he was the lawyer in The Usual Suspect.
One eats wieners and one. Well,
so anyway, Steven Kubacki, his odd disappearance, or strange disappearance, and then his reappearance.
I think the reappearance is more strange than disappearance. Honestly.
Yeah, well, it seems all to be pretty strange.
Well, yeah, it's all strange.
So, in February of 1978, Steven, who was a student at the time learning German, went missing in the Michigan area, in an area known as the Lake Michigan Triangle. Now, Matt and I were discussing this earlier, and there's quite a few triangles out there.
Lots of them.
These, mystical triangular places around the globe. So, this is one of those other triangles. So anyway, he goes out for this. He said he went out to go skiing, and when they go out looking for him, they find his skis and his poles on the beach of Lake Michigan, and his footprints on the ice leading up to the lake. And they just stop. And he's not there. He's gone, disappeared. Poof.
Ice isn't broken. No indication that he walked off.
Right. No other evidence could be found. It just appears like, he disappeared. And I guess later that day when they were looking through for him, they found his backpack. And they had no idea. So on May 5th of 1979, 15 months later, Steven walks up to his dad's door, rings the doorbell, and he didn't know he'd been missing for that long. He says he just woke up. Like he woke up 40 miles from his dad's house, lying in a meadow, wearing clothes that weren't his. He had maps on him in a satchel that weren't his, so he said. And he woke up 700 miles from Lake Michigan. So
700 miles from where he started, but he ended up in the same town that his dad lives in, or 40 miles from where his dad lives. That's weird.
So now the strange thing to me about the whole thing is the footprints, and then poof. I mean, I don't know if he backtraced himself in the snow. All the
backwards, so the footprints looked like they were heading one way.
I mean, I don't know if that happened. That's a complete possibility. It is a possibility.
It is, sure.
But where was he for 15 months?
Yeah, that's the thing. Where was he for 15 months? Where in the hell did this guy?
I mean, there was no, to my understanding, at least there was no, I understand it happened in the late 70s. So technology completely different back then.
Right. There wasn't as much to be able to track somebody.
But you would think, there'd be like, oh, that guy stopped in our diner 6 months ago, something.
Nada.
like nothing. He just vanished and then reappears.
With no memory of the event at all. In fact, he was asked to speak about it to reporters. He's like, "What do I got to speak about? I don't know anything." He's like,
And
"There's
they
nothing."
even found like his backpack by the lake, like later
after
on.
they searched.
Yeah,
After they searched that area near his skis, they said, "Yeah."
So like he disappeared for 15. I'm just looking at it from the perspective of like, okay, if this is, some hijinks going on, something that this guy pulled, like he had means to survive for 15 months on him without anybody noticing or anything. I mean, he didn't take like his backpack with him. Obviously he would have had to have used cash. It's just really weird, man. Like this was one of the few times where I read a story and kind of looked into it, and all the information is pretty much the same on it, backing the story, and it's a head scratcher, man. What happened to this guy?
Yeah.
I gotta say, this guy ain't no dummy either. He's got later he went on to get his PhD. He's a PhD now, and he's still around. You can find him on Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah, he is, and yes, Matt and I did a little digging as well. And Matt come up with some pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah, some of his beliefs are a little out there. But
Yeah.
if you went through the experience that he did, I'm kind of guessing your beliefs might have to be out there.
That's curious to me, Steve. That's curious to me because, see, Matt and I went in a totally other direction with it.
Right. Like that's the thing. Was the situation the cause or the effect? Like, did he pull this stunt to support his beliefs or come up with this story to support his beliefs? Or did he end up with those beliefs because of what happened to him?
Right. Did he stage this because he was like, listen, if I've got this as a jumping off point, this is what happened to me.
But here's the thing. He wasn't studying that sort of thing at the time. He was studying German, and then he went on to study linguistics and then became a psychologist after that. So it wasn't like...
Yeah, but you don't know how many of the stepping stones he'd taken to get there already.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know what his classes were or anything. I don't know what his all it said was he was studying German at the time.
Okay, here's what he did. He was a graduate of the University of Massachusetts. No, his mother worked at the University of Massachusetts. He graduated from Deerfield Academy in 1972. Then he went to Hope College in 1979, and he received his BA in German Studies. That's what he was doing when this was going on. A default major because he just had enough credits after having switched major a dozen times. In 1983, he earned an MA in linguistics from Ohio University. Then he subsequently got a PhD in clinical psychology from the University of New Mexico. Then he had a fellowship in the departments of philosophy and psychoanalysis at Frankfurt University in Germany. So, I mean, doesn't say anything about, his weird beliefs.
Structure.
And his weird belief structure is that he believes that... Let me get back to that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a practicing psychologist in Seattle right now.
Yep.
So,
If I remember correctly, Matt, he believes anything is possible, correct?
right.
Reality is everything, as in everything possible does exist.
Yes.
Or can exist, right?
Yes. I mean,
That is the only logical.
Guy. And I mean, in and of itself, this is a great story. I mean, here's this guy, and I mean, if you want to take the story at face value, that he did disappear for 15 months and nobody knows where he went. He doesn't know where he went. So here's this guy, disappears, goes out skiing, just disappears. Who knows why? He doesn't even know why he walked out to the ice. Shows up 15 months later. Goes on to, become this, lettered doctor. Gets a PhD. And subscribes to this new thinking about the threads of reality. This is a fucking fascinating story.
Right.
But how much of it holds water? That's the question.
What I find fascinating about the story is his lack of wanting to even talk about it. I mean, he didn't even want to talk to the reporters at the time, and I can't find anything where he's ever talked about it.
Yeah, it seems like publicly he has not wanted to profit off of this story at all, which is another head scratcher.
Okay, so the idea that he did this to support his theory would kind of not hold water then, right? Because he's never even talked about it. What happened? Whether he remembers it or not, he says he does not.
I thought he wrote a book.
Yeah, but it has nothing to do with his story. His book is about everything is possible. What's it called? Praxis is the name of the making of ideas and imagination.
Wasn't that the Klingon moon that exploded?
Basically, your ideas and imaginations become reality, can become reality.
So he imagined that he vanished, and then he went out skiing and vanished.
I don't know. There's no backstory to it. I mean, why was he going there? Why did he go there to ski that day? There is no backstory, so it's hard to tell.
Well, that's the thing.
He's not talking about it.
That's what adds credibility to it in my eyes. I mean, it's like, the cases where people are, for instance, I'm not saying this is what happened, but hey, it's a possibility. Alien abduction. The people weren't like putting themselves in positions to be abducted. It just happened, regardless of what they're doing. This guy was just going out skiing and disappeared for 15 months.
Yeah, the thing that I find that makes me think that this is a real thing. I don't know what it is, but this isn't like a hoax by him, is the fact that he's never tried to profit off it or make any type of big deal out of it. He's simply just he's kept it on the down low. And I mean, he's become who he's become, but not on the back of this. So I don't know. This, like you said, Matt, this one's a fucking head scratcher. I don't know where to go with it. Was he abducted for fucking 15 months by aliens? Was he taken somewhere and tortured to the point where he fucking forgot it all?
Well, in his bio, we had talked about how he admits to taking things that may expand the consciousness, if you will. But in those situations, you remember the events leading up to it. Like, even if you take something and black out from it and you can't remember, after, the effects wear off, you remember what was happening before that.
Generally, yes.
Right.
And he's just there's no patches of memory. There's no leading up to the events. It's not like 15 months later he shows up at his dad's house and he's like, yeah, I went to the lake and took a bunch of acid and I don't remember what happened after that. You would think that would be part of what he would remember, or he would remember little bits and pieces during the 15 months time, moments of clarity or whatever. But this guy doesn't remember anything.
Yeah. And I mean, the only thing is how do we know he's telling the truth? That's the only thing about it that gives me pause is how do we know he's telling the truth that he doesn't remember? Was there something he was trying to get away from for 15 months? Was there something going on? I don't know.
He just didn't want to go to school. Who knows?
Well, what was there anything? And it may very well have been nothing. And it was just this strange disappearance. But what was it? This is what's fascinating about it. And when I saw the story the other night, I happened to be watching Ancient Aliens, the 13th season, and they brought it up, this story of this Steven Kubacki, and how he went to go skiing, and he walks out onto the ice, and his tracks just stop, and he's gone. And I'm like, what? I'd never heard of this.
Yeah, I hadn't heard it.
And I'm like, this is new to me. And I did a little poking today, and I got in touch with Matt, and I'm like, what do you think of, this story and what we could do with it? And as we got digging deeper, we're like, this guy's like a fucking little enigma.
Yeah.
He's not only is he, did he have this strange thing happen to him, quote unquote, no one's ever gonna know. But this is a very strange set of circumstances.
It's probably, as far as missing time stories go, that's probably the longest one I know of. I mean, 15 months. That's a pretty long time.
Yeah, 15 months, and you know nothing of what happened.
Yeah.
You wake up somewhere else in somebody else's clothes with stuff that isn't yours, supposedly.
So he was obviously somewhere.
I'd be curious to know where the maps were of that he had on his person.
One account said they were strange maps. The other account just said maps. So I don't know what they were, and there's no account as far as I can tell. And I didn't do a lot of research, but
maybe he went to that world in the Talisman, Matt.
Maybe he's a spider.
Didn't I hear they're doing like a movie or a mini series of that?
I think so.
Oh, that's gonna be fucking awesome. For those of you who don't know, Stephen King wrote this story. The boy's name was Jack, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Jack or Jake or something like that. Anyway, he used a lot of J names with kids. So his mom is dying, and right? I'm correct about that. I'm trying to remember this. It's been a long
I think
time.
so.
And he wants to try to save her, and he finds out the way to get to this other world. And in the other world, everybody has like twins, but there's all this fantasy shit like werewolves, and it's really fucking weird because it's Stephen King. But anyway, it's a great story. But the princess is dying too, or the queen, or whatever the fuck she is, and which is his mom, and he has to try to save her. So anyway, yeah, oh, cool story. But yeah, maybe that's where he went.
Well, honestly, I mean, I'm always going to try to look at it from as many angles as possible, but his the stuff he studies and writes papers on, I mean, it's all kind of like the guy went through it, and like he's trying to understand it, and he's trying to wrap his mind around it. He acts like a person who went through something unexplainable, something strange. I mean, every web page he has, everything he writes about is talking about, like question reality, question everything. Like,
Yeah,
like, look, people,
like this is fucking like Matrix style shit.
yeah, like, we've talked about before, like those type events impact a person so deeply that it like changes their path in life.
Well, even though he doesn't even remember the events, allegedly, it still will change you because, dude, I was missing for 15 months and nobody knows why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing normal about it according to what we know. And I think that's probably what's jacking with his head the most and sent him on the path of enlightenment that he's on.
Yeah, it is a very, very interesting case. It just seems like a big rabbit hole. It'd be interesting. I'd like to try to reach out to him.
I doubt he'll talk about it. Because he said, and I don't remember anything, and there's nothing wrong with me, so there's nothing to talk about. Yeah, I mean, that's what he said originally. And
I'd more like to talk to him about what he's into now.
Yeah.
I'd be like, hey, this is how I found you. But I'm curious about your, like, Steve, you gotta know how to do that shit.
Well, right.
Yeah. I mean, come on. And I don't think I would go down that road anyway. I'd more or less want to talk to him about what he's into now. Because it would make it, I mean, it still is some pretty fascinating out there shit.
Well, and his theory about the universe is just as valid as anybody else's, probably. I mean, he may not have the scientific basis behind it, but we have no clue. You know, we're just this little speck on a little speck.
Yeah,
Subconsciously, he might have way more information than we do.
Maybe.
that's true as well.
Because he could have been, you know, traveling the universe for those 15 months. We have no clue. He could have been in a parallel dimension. He could have been passed out under a rock. We don't know. Well, of course not.
It is a very weird case.
I did look into some other, you know, missing time cases, and people don't tend to remember what happened during. I mean, they remember bits and pieces sometimes, but a lot of the missing case or missing time cases, they don't remember much of anything. So it's not out of the norm for that type of case.
Or they don't think any time has passed.
Or yeah, and he said he didn't realize he was gone that long.
Yeah.
Now he might have known time had
Well,
passed.
he's according to him, he just woke up.
In the middle of a field somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I don't know what to say about it. I think it's rather
Maybe
rather
he
odd.
fell, bonked his head on a rock, and forgot who he was for 15 months, and then who knows? But how did he get that stuff? You know, how did he get
You'd
somebody
think
else?
there'd be some record of something somewhere.
Yeah, you would think.
You would think.
But obviously he was making his way back home.
But he never went with any type of, hey, I was taken aboard an alien ship, or
No.
you know, or hey,
But there's
went to
some
another dimension.
You know, there's some clues that could have been had, you know, at the time. I mean, 15 months and over a year, you got things like toenails, fingernails, hair, facial hair, you know, cleanliness, like things that we take for granted. If your teeth haven't been brushed in over a year, you know it.
True.
You know, like whenever he showed up at his dad's house, you know, did he have a beard? You know, or, you know, like what kind of condition was he in? I'd be interested to hear about all that stuff.
Yeah,
I didn't see any news articles. There's probably a news article on it.
I would have definitely. I still go back to. I would have liked to have seen the maps in this satchel. That's what I would like. That's what I would like to know.
What are the maps?
What those maps were of. I don't care if they were, you know, if they seemed strange. I would have liked to have seen what they were of. That's my curiosity.
An Arkansas Road Atlas.
Hey, you never know.
Like it never said. I mean, and they said a satchel, but you know, that wasn't his, and maps that wasn't his. They didn't say what they were.
And he was dressed in clothes that weren't his.
Yeah, or that he didn't remember.
Correct. Yeah, I don't know what to think about it, Steve. And when I came across it, I was like, this is something we need to talk about. This
Perhaps
is
when you have a missing time event. I know you said, you know, teeth brushing and hair and beard, and maybe time doesn't actually move in the same way. So that stuff may not even come into effect. But of course, he was wearing different clothes, so some time had to have passed. But maybe time doesn't pass wherever he was the same way it does here. Maybe it was just a day or an hour or 15 minutes or something.
Was he like just a guy that's been in the woods for 15 months, or has he been, you know, is he in the same condition as when he left? That's what I was.
Did he definitely know
if somebody had been fucking Whitman?
If somebody had been in the woods for 15 months, you'd probably know. You know,
right?
You're not going to have the
no, not necessarily, Steve.
You're going to shave with a rock?
No, well, not necessarily. If he made plans for it, and you know, if we're assuming that he did this, that he went out to live in the woods, then he would have made plans for it,
right?
So
but
maybe he sets things aside for it, so that he would have all these things to be able to do that. So that when he came out of the woods, it wasn't, you know, he didn't look all fucking disheveled. He could have, made himself look presentable.
Yeah,
but
but if
that's
he,
what I'm saying. There would have to be a very well thought out plan that was orchestrated and carried out for the purpose of what?
Right. That's the thing. Why? Why would you do that?
That's if
You
you were
can't just go ahead, Steve.
if you were just trying to get away from civilization for 15 months, you would talk about it when I just wanted to get away. That's it. Instead of saying I don't remember any of it. I don't know.
Right. And
Yeah.
food for a year, clothing, whatever, like buying, a pack of razors and 10 cans of shaving cream or whatever he would need. He would have to do that a certain way if he was trying to hide it. Otherwise, somebody would be like, dude, that guy came in yesterday and bought a whole case of canned peaches or something.
Yeah.
I think there would be some trail that would be traced back to him.
Even in the late 70s, there'd be something.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I'm just like, what the fuck is going on with this story? I don't get it. I don't know what to, I don't know how to debunk it, so to speak. So it remains like this mystery.
There's been other strange events in that area. Like some boat captain missing from the cabin.
Yeah, that all relates to the whole triangle thing,
right? And that's in the same area.
Yeah, and there's
but those people were never returned.
Yeah, they never returned. And someone in the chat asked, "Is this a missing 411?" Yes.
Yeah, he's in there.
Polides,
of course, he has
attached himself to that story in some way, shape, or form. But I had just heard about it on Ancient Aliens, and I wanted to look into it more because the more I looked into it, the more fascinated I became.
I do not know Polides' views on this story. Don't care. But yes, he's in the book.
I mean, all he does is find stories like this and write about them.
Yeah. He just pretty much relays the information.
He wasn't involved in the investigation or anything.
Right, back in the 70s. No. But yeah, this one really got me. This one got me just going,
Missing time stories always get me like that, though, because.
But and here's the thing, though. So this one got me thinking about the Travis Walton case because when I was growing up, the Travis Walton thing was huge. You had Fire in the Sky, that movie. I don't know how many times I watched that fucking movie, but
still a great movie.
Yeah, still a good movie. And I haven't watched it recently. I should check it out again. But then later on that and I don't know specifics right now off the top of my head, but there's stuff that that was wonky that happened with it that necessarily might have not made it as true as what some people have liked. I don't know, but there's another case where the guy disappears. Only there's witnesses. There's the guys that were with him. They were logging on the side of a mountain.
So they just finished logging.
Yeah, and in the movie they actually see him get abducted, right? For the most part,
I think so. Yeah,
but in real life they didn't.
No,
he took off into the woods. They saw something, but they didn't know what it was. And he shows up days later or a week later or some shit like that, somewhere else. And he has these fragmented memories of what happened to him. But he actually remembered that he was, abducted. So, but it got me thinking about, that and how that, there's other details now that have come up with that, and is this going to be one of those stories that later on more details are going to come out where it's oh yeah.
Well, interestingly enough, Travis Walton was in 1975, so that was before the Kubacki thing.
Correct.
So
But
is
it's had
possible.
it's had way more eyes on it.
Right.
because
It
of
is
the fame.
possible that Kubacki would have known of the Travis Walton story and in some weird, twisted way, maybe wanted to do it on it, to do something similar, but then change his mind. But you wouldn't go missing for 15 months and then all of a sudden change your mind.
You'd be gone for like a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This isn't working out. I'm going home.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to do the trick. Yeah, I'm fucking good, man.
And maybe, I mean, I'm a fan of the Travis Walton story, man. So, like, you're right. It has had a lot of attention and everything. And maybe that's why other things came out later kind of saying that it wasn't quite what it was made out to be. Maybe it's part of a cover-up because it really did happen.
Right. We don't know. And I don't think with any of these things, I don't think we're ever really going to know. And it's just going to be what it is. And there may come out some information later on, but we don't, right now we don't know.
Well, Kubacki ain't talking. So
Yeah, Kubacki ain't talking. I think it would be interesting to talk to him about his theories now, though.
yeah.
That would be some fucking wacky shit, Steve.
Well,
And that's right up my fucking alley. I love that shit.
kind of understand it, what he's saying there. I don't think it's really that far. I don't think his ideas are that strange. We don't know. I mean, we all have different beliefs about things like God and the universe and whatever.
Mhm.
So his ideas aren't any different than many other people's. It's just that his idea is that everything is real. Even your imagination is real and it can become reality, that kind of thing. But
Yeah.
maybe it can.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows? I'm going to take a look into it and maybe I'll see if I can reach out to the guy. Because I think it would be fun.
He's on Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah. Let's see if I can reach out to him because it'd be interesting. Just to talk to, like I said, just to talk to him about his new shit.
Mhm.
Not the missing 15 months, I mean, like I said, I'll tell him, this is how I'm gonna say how I came across you. But other than that, we don't even have to talk about it because you've said like there's nothing you know about it. So fuck it. Why should I beat him, for information about something that you don't want to talk about?
Right.
So talk about something else. It's much like the John Teeter guy.
Which one? John Teeter or John Teeter 2?
John Teeter 2.
Oh, okay.
John Teeter 2, he's friggin', came on the
Teeter
show.
also.
He didn't want to talk about, he didn't want us to be, what was it he said? I can't remember exactly.
I don't remember.
You guys are going to start fucking with me or something like that. I'll pull the plug on this thing.
Oh, he did it all on his own.
Oh, yeah, we just let him go. Let him go. I mean, come on. What else was I going to do with that?
Let him talk.
If you're going to be a
And here's the
time-traveling
thing.
spaceman from the future
No,
and you're
no.
going to be on Facebook.
Matt, wait a minute. I gotta give you some props here. And I don't remember. I believe I did at the time, but the reason I had John Teeter 2, quote unquote, on the show was because of Matt.
Oh yeah.
Matt reached out to me and sent me this guy's profile on Facebook, and he's like, "Dude, check this guy out."
Yeah.
So I click on the profile and I'm like, John Teeter, what the fuck? And I start looking down through and I'm like, holy shit. And he's like, you should try to get him on your show.
John Teeter, the sequel, is on Facebook.
So I did.
And he didn't know how to use Google Hangouts.
Oh yeah, that was phenomenal.
Time traveling spaceman from the future who couldn't figure out how to use Google Hangouts. It was great.
Yeah, I didn't get it. But hey, what was I going to do with him? I was just going to let him go.
And we did.
It was way more interesting to hear him talk than for us to try to beat him up.
Yeah.
Any day of the week. So, anybody that wants to beat me up, and then
That's an entire, that's a different deal, though. Like, that's kind of like, hi, here's like a freak show, like
Yeah,
pay your quarter and see the two-headed cow.
absolutely.
Kubacki though, entirely different story, man.
Yeah, I don't
Oh
like.
yeah.
That would be an interesting show. I would tune in.
Well, you'd be part of it.
Well, I'm saying if I wasn't, I would tune in.
Right. I get what you're saying. But I mean, I would definitely like to just talk to him about what he's into now. This whole like reality stuff. Like I said, it's right up my alley.
I don't know if I should be on though, because
Why?
I might break out in the middle of the show and just be like, "What the fuck happened, man? Where were you?"
You can't hold it in anymore,
I just can't.
You gotta know.
dude.
Always explain. I mean, imagination and anything can be reality. So,
Well, me and my cousin experienced missing time together at the same moment, and but all we did was get from one side of Tyler, Texas, to the other.
But all we did was smoke a really big joint.
Well, no, we were on a road trip on our way home, and we were in Tyler, Texas. We were approaching Tyler, Texas, and just like in a flash, I mean, there was no actual flash, but just like all of a sudden, we're on the opposite side of Tyler, and I was like, I looked at it, and I was like, "What just happened?" And he was like, "What do you mean?" I said, "We're on the other side of Tyler." He's like, "No, we're not. We're getting ready to drive into it." And I was like, "No, we're on the other side of Tyler right now." We went like the route was different. Like I don't know. Everything changed in Texas.
That's weird.
It was weird.
were you in the Tyler Triangle?
Maybe so.
Tyler.
Well, there's a
Tyler
triangle
Triangle.
everywhere.
Right. So
So I bet you were.
Steve.
I'm gonna look it up, see if there is a Tyler Triangle. I bet there is.
I wanted to let you know I informed people last night on Squatchable that eventually I'm going to have an expedition in Ohio where we search for the elusive asshole Steve Alcorn.
Oh,
And the reason that I'm doing this is because this is an expedition with payoff.
oh, there is.
They'll actually see the cowboy hatted dick.
I don't know where my cowboy hat is.
Oh well, we'll get you one.
Okay.
in your many travels, I'm sure you could acquire another cowboy hat.
Okay. There is a guy in Tyler, Texas who plays the triangle.
That plays the Tyler Triangle.
Does that count?
No.
Oh, Steve. What am I gonna do with you, man?
I don't know. Expose me for the fraud.
Take him to the Michigan Triangle and pray for the best.
I don't know what else to do.
Can we just set you out at the shore of Lake Michigan and see what happens, Steve?
Yeah.
I'd be game. I'd be game.
Like if you disappear and reappear, just come on the show and let us know what happened.
Find out where Mr. Kubacki was. I'll
Yeah.
stand there for a couple of hours, and if something happens, I'll let you know 15 months from now. Sometimes I wouldn't mind disappearing.
Wouldn't that be, but there are like, Chris was saying, like all these different mystery triangles where, people vanish and
Yeah, you
experience
got the
weird
Bennington
things.
Triangle in Vermont.
Do you think there's anybody out there that tours these triangles trying to disappear?
Just trying to get away?
Yeah, like somebody who just continuously
What do you
flies
do?
over the Bermuda Triangle or something.
When is it my turn?
Well, no, I'm saying to see what happens. I want to go to another dimension.
I'm sure there's been documentaries done on the Bermuda Triangle, and they go there and allegedly strange things happen. But,
Right, but people go to Salt Fork State Park to see a Bigfoot.
yeah.
Hey,
we could
somebody
come up
like
with a
that.
whole new thing.
Yeah, we
No,
go to
whole new
mystery.
field
We
of
lead
research.
tours to mystery triangles for $1,000 an expedition,
No refunds if you disappear.
and no refunds if you don't disappear.
Right. No refunds.
The only thing guaranteed to disappear is your money.
That's right. That's the only thing we guarantee.
Well, something will disappear, right?
Yeah.
Your hard-earned cash.
Yeah.
Integrity.
Our integrity.
Your
And
ability,
it's in short supply.
your ability to hold public office.
That's right. When was that fucking ever
I
on the
was just saying.
table?
Well, for people who go on tour, not for us.
Yeah.
We've already lost that ability.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I did not know what to think of when I saw this, and it made me think of all these different disappearances that have happened over the years, these abduction stories, and it really made me think of the Travis Walton story, because like I said, Fire in the Sky was huge for me when I was a kid, and I don't know how many times I've seen that movie. Watch them all take that lie detector test, and that one guy, he was squirrely.
Well, you know how, I mean, we've talked to a lot of, I've never met Bob Gimlin, but we know people. Yeah. But we know people that have met Bob Gimlin. And regardless, okay, regardless of if, I don't care what you feel about the person.
I want you to know that's alleged. I don't mean to interrupt you, but it's alleged that he met Bob Gimlin.
I have pictures somewhere.
They can be doctored, Matt.
I know. And they will be.
All right, Patterson Gimlin film.
Regardless of your beliefs on the film, everybody I've ever talked to who's met Bob Gimlin has been like, I believe the guy. He's down to earth. He's a great guy, extremely strong character. Like, everybody likes him.
Yep.
And I've heard the exact same thing about everybody who has met Travis Walton. Like, he's a down-to-earth guy, kind of shy, doesn't come across as crazy or lying, or just a regular guy that something crazy happened to.
Yeah.
But this Kubacki thing, this Kobayashi.
This Kobayashi guy.
I'm telling you, man, it's fucking with me. That doesn't happen very often, but this story,
Mr. Soze.
yes. This story is pretty crazy, man.
Oh, I agree completely. It's had me like my head spinning for a couple of days now. I've just been like, what the fuck? For one, how come I didn't know about this? Like, it's been around since the 70s. And I've been, looking into stuff like, strange disappearances and all that type of stuff for years now.
Because he doesn't talk about it and he doesn't exploit it.
There isn't a whole lot on it. I mean, it's just a little blurb, basically, because there's not much to know.
Yeah. But what a story.
But I mean, the devils are in the details, with this story. On the outside, take a look at it from the perspective of, say, mainstream media. Okay, so this is just a guy who, went recluse for 15 months and didn't tell anybody. That's where it would stop, Like, he didn't disappear and was never found again or anything like that. Like, yeah, he's still alive. He's a PhD holder, like.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever you read the details of like what happened and the fact that he doesn't talk about it and the stuff that he's into now, I don't know, man. Something's out there.
Yeah. I don't understand it. I don't think we're ever going to understand it. And I think, like I said before, I think if I can get him on the show, that it's got to be just about the stuff that he does now.
Do you ever think he's been at like a Christmas party or something, sitting around with everybody and like, cousin Bob gets one tied on and it's like, hey man, Steve.
Dude.
Tell him the story, man.
No, but he'd have the perfect excuse for not bringing a gift. Oh man, I lost time and there was, I didn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It'd be great. You'd never have to buy a Christmas gift.
Especially all those birthdays and Christmas gifts, that he missed out on in 1978.
Hey, you missed the party. Where were you? Oh, I don't remember.
I don't fucking know.
He was just trying to save himself.
Oh, shit. Did it happen
I got
again?
you something really nice, but I stopped by the lake on the way over and, yeah, I don't know.
And
Yeah.
for some reason, this Dollar Tree gift
I
appeared
just
in my
turned
hand.
up, and it's 15 months later. Strange clothes, strange maps, knocked on Dad's door.
Want a map?
Yeah. It's a map to the stars.
I bought you this Apple iPhone 10, but when I got here, all I had was these maps.
That would be funny if it was a map to the stars, like the Hollywood stars map.
That would be fucking so funny. Or one of those tour maps.
Yeah.
I would giggle my ass off. That's
Groucho Marx lives right there.
But that's why I want to know what those maps were. And maybe a little more digging can be done, but
it could be just some mundane stuff. But one of the news articles or one of the reports of it said strange maps. What that means, I don't know.
Maps.
But like Betty and Barney
Hill,
they had strange maps too. And so, but theirs was maps of the stars that allegedly weren't charted and all that stuff, and later became true. And so it would be interesting to find out whether or not
she described a star system long before it was ever
she wrote those
actually
maps and,
charted.
right. She made maps, but
why is that not a bigger deal?
Yeah.
What, the Betty and Barney Hill story?
Yeah.
I guess that I looked into it once, and I guess it's another one, and I don't know all the details. I wish I did. I wish I had it out in front of me, but there was tomfuckery people were alleging. But you're right. If she was talking about a star system years before it was ever charted, seen through a telescope or whatnot, that should have been huge news.
And it's not like she was like an amateur astronomist or anything.
She was like a social worker or something, wasn't she? I believe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or he was.
I don't know all the details. I don't have it right up. But yeah, and that is just what the fuck. But that's like another one of those. There's that tribe in Africa that knew about a star in another system that they only found out about, like fucking recent. But they've been talking about it for ages. It's a part of their folklore.
Yeah, that's weird stuff, man.
Yeah, it is fascinating, and that goes back to that whole, I don't believe, or I tend not to believe in this whole ancient alien theory. I think that there was a civilization that rose to great heights at one point in time before the Ice Age, and that it fell off, and that the people that came after, the history got lost. So that's why
definitely a possibility.
Yeah, I think that the more I think, the more things I see, the more I look at Darren Kuyu and Göbekli Tepe. Like, dude, I mean, I don't mean to go off on a tangent like this on this show, like this is about something completely different, but Göbekli Tepe, they made these concentric circles, and they put all this symbolism on them, and then they buried them. And then they built other circles on top of the circle. They're all different layers throughout the earth. And they were deliberately buried. And that's one where I'm just like, huh? What the fuck?
Who knows?
And this is at a time, and these are megalithic structures. And this is at a time where people are supposed to be just hunter-gatherers. That's it. No civilizations, no cities.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you in modern times, whenever it comes to financial means, you hear about the 1%, that has the majority of the money in the world. And, those are the people that control everything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, who's to say that 1% hasn't always existed? I mean, what was the 1% doing back during the times of ancient Egypt. Well, they were building pyramids,
Right,
So,
right, right.
so what has the 1% accomplished throughout history that has been lost just
Right, but
because?
I seriously tend to think that there was something else. I don't know if it was a civilization of human beings. I don't know if it was a civilization of another species. I don't know. But I can tell you this, the more I think about it and the more things I see, that's what I believe.
But the stuff you're talking about didn't just happen in one region.
What do you mean?
Like, you have those sorts of things taking place wherever civilization was all over the globe.
Oh yeah, no. I think it was a global civilization that happened at one point in time. I think it was much like it is today, where the world was populated all over. I think it was much like that.
I mean, there's no telling.
Yeah, and you and I have talked about the Moai on Easter Island. There's these fucking heads, and then they start digging, and it's a whole fucking thing.
Yeah. What are they for?
Yeah.
How did they do it?
What the fuck? And there's all kinds of things that happen like this throughout history. And here's the interesting thing with talking about Easter Island and the Moai, those people disappeared.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about the people that were there when the Europeans got there. Those people got wiped out by smallpox. But the people that were there before were completely different. And they disappeared. Because they say that the Maya, the decimation of the Maya was due to, the introduction of European diseases. That they showed up, they introduced the diseases, they left, and then the diseases ran their course through those civilizations, and boom, they were gone. Which that's I buy that for the disappearance of those civilizations. But there's too much that says there was stuff way, way before all that. So I just find that whole thing fascinating. And it just brought that, that whole, when I was going on that whole Ancient Aliens kick the other night, I started with the thing about Göbekli Tepe. And I've known for a while now that, everything was buried in layers, but I was just like, what the fuck? What? Why?
Yeah. You do all that. And then
Darren Kuyu, which is this, I am probably going to get the numbers wrong, but this thing is an entirely underground city. It was excavated out into rock. It's an entire city where they had livestock. They were able to, they lived down in there. And I think it's way older than they say, than they're talking. And it goes down miles underground. Miles.
I mean, you and I were talking about that. Just the amount of time that it would take to make that place.
Yeah. Could you imagine?
Something had to have been going on for a really long time for them.
And why did they do it?
Right.
The thing that I tend to think is it was they, if anything, and I'm totally spitballing here, but they knew the Ice Age was coming, so they fucking dug it out, and that's how they weathered it out.
But how would they know the Ice Age is coming?
Because it was getting colder.
Yeah, but
well, maybe they understood the way things worked a lot better than we do.
It's possible. I mean, more ancient civilizations knew how to read the stars better than maybe we do today, and things like that. They based everything off of that.
Way better.
Yeah.
And I've tried to wrap my head around that whole idea about how they think that they had, that's all they had was the sky. And maybe like they didn't have much for books way back. but who knows what they had. But, you know, let's say these were ancient civilizations and they didn't have a lot of technology. All they had was the sky. So maybe these people just looked at the sky so much.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, we've all looked up at the sky out in the country where there's no like lights from the city and no ambient light. You can see like 100 times more stars.
Oh my God. It's
ridiculous.
It's amazing.
And that's what the entire world was like. And they didn't have, you know, detailed maps or anything. I mean, they were dependent on those stars. And that, you know, half of their time was spent in the dark. And the dark was a scary place. So I imagine, they spent a lot of time looking at the stars.
You said these structures went down instead of, you know, we build up. We tend to build up. Bigger is better.
No. We're talking about the moai, the big heads,
right?
On Easter Island. They were buried,
right?
The lower half of their body, from the neck down, was buried.
Right.
Whoa.
Sorry, it's like Sturgis outside my house when it gets warm.
You know, it's like fucking Cheers outside your door. And
there's a park right around the corner, and all the motorcyclists. No, that's over with.
You know they annoy me. Yeah, Steve.
You guys just love to brag on me.
We do. Oh, we do.
One of these days I'll get sick of it. I'm not sure when. Probably 10 or 15 years, but
10 or 15 years, and then you'll wake up and you'll be like, I'm in somebody else's clothes. Wait a minute, there's my cowboy hat.
See, maybe, just maybe, Kubacki was on a show like this, and he just doesn't want to remember it. He remembers it, but he doesn't want to. Or he's embarrassed about it or something. Maybe he wanted to be a porn star for a while. Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? Maybe
he got laughed out of the.
He was slinging dick.
Yeah, maybe he wasn't very good at it, and he got laughed at, and that he doesn't want to tell people. Who knows?
Yeah,
I just don't know.
I don't either. On that note, Steve, you got any news of the news variety tonight?
Yeah, I have news of the news variety.
That's great.
Let's see, which one do I want to do first? Bigfoot, Yeti,
hey,
Yeti. We'll
hey!
What?
Shut up!
Not news time yet, Steve.
Oh. Walter Cronkite, I ain't. Sorry. I know you expect that because of my brilliant past in the news reporting industry, but
you're brilliant, all right.
Someone found, this is from New York Times. Someone found footprints of a Yeti yet again. Get it?
What?
I'm just reading the article. Mountaineers from the Indian Army spotted the 32-inch footprints near the Makulu base camp in Nepal, the Army said on Monday. Photos the team posted show several long prints in the snow, one directly in front of the other. Yeah, sounds like a Yeti to me. Of course, Twitter users immediately responded to the tweet because they tweeted it, calling the footprints a Yeti catwalk, or saying that the Yeti was hopping because the footprints were in a line instead of side by side. Others tweeted saying that it was a mythical one-legged creature. They didn't.
What idiots!
I know what creature it was, but it was.
Everybody knows that Bigfoot creatures walk in a straight line.
Straight lines all the time.
Idiots. But could it have been from a Yeti? And if Yetis are real, how could they have existed for so long without posting a single selfie? That's the article, not me. The Yeti is mysterious cousin of Bigfoot, blah, blah, blah. We all know that. But they believe the footprints are actually from a bear. The footprints in the photos appear to lead into bushes. Mr. Taylor, who is the author of Yeti, The Ecology of a Mystery, said he would expect to find a clearer set of prints, not this one and clearly sun melted. I'm not interested in one footprint as I'm interested in the trail footprints leads to, said Mr. Taylor. Oh, he's also the president of the Future Generations University, whatever that is.
Ooh.
And he says it's just sun melted bear prints, which is probably the truth.
It's 100% not bear tracks. I can tell you that.
I don't know.
Well, I do.
Matt knows. He's an expert.
I'm not an expert.
32-inch print.
I'm
How
not an
big would
expert.
a Yeti have to be?
I'm not saying it's Yeti tracks. I'm just saying it's not bear.
Okay.
Bears have an entirely different gait than what those tracks have.
Oh, yeah, they do.
What if it was bounding through the snow?
Well, that's different.
What if it was a one-legged bear, Matt?
No, what if it was bounding through the snow? I'm laying that out there.
Oh, whenever they bound, they drag their hind legs back.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
there is no drag marks in these prints that I
Okay.
could see. It was very purposeful and nice and laid out neatly in a straight line, as Yetis often do.
Listen, the Yeti is very well known to do certain things, Steve.
But the official government response it would be that it's a bear print. So,
Okay.
and why would the government lie?
They wouldn't.
Steve,
Of
I'm
course,
with
they're
you.
also the ones that posted the pictures.
But a lot of people believe they posted it as a joke. So, livescience.com. Guess
Yeah.
what?
What?
The Air Force is out of the UFO business, and they have been for a long time, allegedly. But the Navy plans to document UFO sightings. Pretty cool. But you're not going to know about it because the Navy doesn't intend to make the data public, citing the privileged and classified information that these reports usually include. The reason they're doing this is because it's a safety issue.
And they'll soon be doing a new show on CBS called NCI UFOS.
Oh, that would actually be I'd watch that. Military aviation safety organizations always retain reporting of hazards to aviation as privileged information in order to preserve the free and honest prioritization and discussion of, that's a long list of words that I don't want to say.
They'll be able to pull David Duchovny out of retirement.
Joe Gradisher, for the Office of the Deputy Chief of Naval of Operations for Information and Welfare. Holy Lord, they have long names in the Navy. Told the Washington Post that all that stuff I just read that didn't make any sense to me.
They said, Matt Knapp, he's a fucking Bigfoot expert, Washington Post. You should get in touch with him.
Right. And beyond the announcement,
Oh,
the
no,
Navy
we
is,
meant Matt Moneymaker. Sorry.
beyond the announcement, the Navy is setting up this UFO reporting procedure, and no release of information to the general public is expected, Gradisher said. The upcoming procedure comes in the wake of other government-related UFO news. In late 2017, word came out that the Pentagon had a secret UFO office that spent $22 million over 5 years to study strange and threatening aeronautical events. Although funding for the venture, called the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, or AATIP, ended in 2012. ATIP, yeah. AATIP. Alcoholics Anonymous tip. Like that. Ended in 2012.
What about just the tip?
But there's more than one, apparently. It's advanced tips. Advanced aerospace tips. The program didn't entirely stop, according to those reports. When news of ATIP became public in 2017, now you got me saying ATIP. The Defense Department released 2 declassified videos which showed pilots talking about bizarre aircraft that appeared to accelerate quickly, even though it had no recognizable means of propulsion. Ooh, that sounds cool. I lost my spot. With this announcement, the Navy benefits not only because it will formally investigate these strange sightings, which may well be reconnaissance or enemy aircraft from other nations. They always use that excuse, don't they? The Navy is also winning a nod from the roughly 2/3 of Americans who think that the U.S. government isn't divulging everything it knows about extraterrestrials and UFOs. So, the Navy going to investigate UFO sightings, but it seems like only by pilots.
Yeah, and they're not going to tell you anything, Steve, so it doesn't matter.
No. Well,
Doesn't matter. They're going to do it. And we're not going to tell you about it.
We'll get John Greenwald on that shit, man. He'll do some He'll do some.
Investigative reporting.
Oh no, he does all those
Steve, spit it out.
FOIA requests.
Oh.
I would read the last story, but for some reason my computer just decided to take a dump. There's a haunted school somewhere
Yeah.
near Orlando,
Yeah.
and it's being blamed for vandalism. The ghosts are being blamed for vandalism,
No, the
according
ghost
to the
hunter.
student who was in the principal's office, apparently.
Yeah, good job, Steve.
But I can't read the story because my computer decided to take a shit on me.
Like
I'm trying.
it's breaking windows or like graffiti.
I'm pretty sure it was like
tell you.
the ghost hunters were vandalizing the place
You think so?
where that was supposed to be haunted. Yes, Steve.
Why would they do that?
I don't know.
See our Steven Kubacki story.
Steve, let me fucking do this for you because you don't have the ability.
Let me see if I can get the link to
No, you don't have the ability. You suck.
I did.
From Fox35Orlando.com.
No,
Steve. Fox35Orlando.com. Hungerford Preparatory High School in Eatonville shut down 8 years ago. The campus has since been used as a community center, utilizing the auditorium and cafeteria for youth programs and events.
You
In
just
the
don't
last
put
9
the
months,
passion
police
behind
say
it.
vandals have broken windows, sprayed graffiti on walls, damaged property, and broken into the utility shed to cut all the electrical lines to the facility. AC, the lights, anything that we were able to have functional programs went out the window, said Eddie Cole, mayor of Eatonville. Mayor Cole says a fix would cost more than $52,000, money the town doesn't have. Investigators with the Eatonville Police Department say this all stems from a ghost hunting video that was posted online last August, claiming the campus was haunted.
Right.
Since the video appeared, the campus has been ransacked. We just couldn't find the component of what made this change after 8 years. We've been using this facility, said Mayor Cole.
Ghosts.
Police say people looking for a scare has become a growing problem since the video was posted online.
Yep.
How am I doing, Steve?
Yeah. No passion behind your words. No thought.
No jumbled sentences, no mispronunciations.
Let me continue. When we started making contact with people out here on the property, they would tell us that they were looking at sites on social media, YouTube, and planning trips to come here, said Detective Broderick Lampkin with the Eatonville Police Department. Now you have another group coming in, and they're doing their own videos as recent as yesterday, said Mayor Cole. The mayor believes these adventurers seekers also cut the power.
Ooh, he stumbled.
Yes, I did, Steve.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
A building is not as spooky with power, says Mayor Cole. He says the power being cut has opened the door to vandalism.
Is this a duet?
Yeah. The site is, I finally got the story to work. The site is essentially abandoned and the security system is out. Those who lose out, according to the mayor, are the kids. It's all about the children. See, now that's passion in reading your story. It's adding your own.
Steve, I'm so sorry that I couldn't bring to the table what you bring to the table every week. Sorry, buddy.
Police are stepping up patrolling of the site, and surveillance cameras have recently been installed.
Oh, wait. Were you not done?
I'm done now.
Oh, okay.
Whatever.
Steve, did you have a good time this week, Steve?
Sure. Not as good as every other week.
Oh, what the hell just dropped? Something fucking dropped. Man.
My hopes and dreams of ever getting away from this.
Your hopes and dreams?
Yes, that's what dropped.
Steve, how dare you? How dare you be that way? So what do you think about doing a show on mysterious triangles, Steve?
We just did, sort of.
No. Like
dedicating an entire show.
Matt.
To triangles?
Help me with this fucking mess of a man.
We talked about an event that happened in one of the various mysterious triangles. I believe what Chris is asking. What if we did a show on the different mysterious triangles?
Well, if Chris had just said it that way, Yeah, that sounds like a great plan.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Mayhap so, Steve. Mayhap so.
Huh?
Mayhap so.
I don't know what that means. Mayhap so?
Yeah.
Is that some foreign language?
Yeah.
Going back to your roots?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I don't know. It sounded good when it came out of my mouth. Well, before it came out of my mouth. It sounded good in the inside. And then when it came out, it was like...
Steve just thinks about roots all the time.
So. It was a good movie.
No, it wasn't.
Sure it was.
It was a rather horrifying movie.
Yeah, that's like saying Schindler's List was a good movie.
It was a good documentation of the times. How's that?
Okay.
And LeVar Burton, man, Reading Rainbow. You can't.
Geordie LaForge.
That's right.
That's right, my
That's
friend.
right.
That's right.
Why didn't they just replace his eyes? I mean, they had the technology, I'm sure. Instead, he had to wear that stupid thing.
They do eventually, Steve.
Oh, I know they do eventually, but why didn't they just do that in the beginning?
I don't fucking remember, Steve.
Like Q made him see once, which was pretty nice of Q to do.
Yeah, nice.
What are you guys talking about?
Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Oh,
Geordie LaForge.
Oh, and speaking of which,
see what I did there?
I see what you did there. That was a good segue, Matt.
Oh, yes.
I'm mentally patting you on the back.
Which you could do if you're a Jedi,
yeah,
but not a member of Starfleet.
That's right. That's correct. You are correct, Matt. I don't think the Vulcan mind powers have gotten that far. I myself am a Star Trek and Star Wars fan. However, Richard, we found out because Matt was a guest on the Squatchable podcast last night.
Oh.
And we found out, I think it was post show. Was it post show or was it during show?
It was right in the middle of everything.
Yeah, I think so. That Richard is a Star Trek fan and Matt is a Star Wars fan.
Oh.
And that they have yet another rivalry, Steve. We have yet another great debate on our hands in the making.
I have to say that I probably would agree with Richard more than Matt in this case. But
see, and I mean, I would say I am far more of a Star Wars fan than I am a Star Trek fan. However, I am a fan of Star Trek as well.
Speaking of which, Peter Mayhew just passed away. So.
Yes, rest in peace, Peter Mayhew, Chewbacca.
Chewie.
Yeah. So yeah, so we'll do a show on.
I'm just saying, hamburgers are good.
Yeah.
I don't got anything against hamburgers. I like a good burger. But if I have my options of a hamburger or a steak, I'm going to opt for the steak.
No. The good old American hamburger is where it's at. I mean, you can eat a hamburger every day. You can't afford steak every day. Right?
Yeah.
Hamburger's cheap. Well, it's not cheap anymore, but it used to be.
Yeah.
Steak is
But
expensive.
which one do you like better?
Well, I like a hamburger. I like good hamburger.
I didn't ask that. I said, which one do you like better?
Well, it depends on who prepares it.
Okay. Gordon Ramsay prepares both.
Oh my God, that'd be one hell of a hamburger, I bet you.
Yeah, I bet it would be. But he also prepared a filet mignon. Which one are you going to go for?
I've never been a fan of filet mignon, so I'd go for the hamburger.
Steve, steak the
Gordon
way you
Ramsay.
like it.
But you can put cheese on a hamburger. Who puts cheese on a steak?
The best steak you've ever had in your life.
With cheese?
Prepared by Gordon Ramsay.
Or the best hamburger you've had ever in your life. Which one are you going to choose?
I go steak on that, Steve.
For me, it's probably going to be hamburger. When I go to a restaurant and steak is on the menu.
Nobody's asking that, Steve.
But I don't know what this metaphor gets back to.
Choice.
So, I don't know why we just became a food show.
The Kubacki theorem. Okay. There's a steak and a burger.
Which one do I make into a reality? Both.
Exactly.
Apparently, because that's the theorem, is that everything
Steak
exists.
sandwich, steak burger.
No, I don't like steak burger. It's no,
Steak burger.
it's not the same.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. If you get that cooked at the
Am I allowed to put
Oh.
cheese on the steak?
shut
On
the
Yes,
fuck up
you
with
can
your
put whatever
cheese.
condiments you want to on it, any accessories, whatever.
If I
don't
can
care.
put cheese on the filet mignon, I'd probably go with that. But as we all know, Star Wars doesn't have any cheese. Oh yeah,
Oh,
they
Star
put
Wars has plenty of cheese.
they had Jar Jar Binks, so maybe I would go with Star Wars then.
Anywho, on that fucking note, you jackasses. This has been the Fortean Slip, episode 76, Alien Abductions and Strange Disappearances. If you like this shit, hit the little thumbs up button. If you don't, hit the little thumbs down button. Leave a comment, subscribe. Check out Matt Knapp at Bigfoot, youtube.com/BigfootCrossroads and Cryptid Tales. Check out Richard Allen's blog. The link is below the video. And check out Bigfootin' with Keith and Colin on Facebook. Check out Parabreakdown on YouTube at youtube.com/Parabreakdown. I don't know what current do-it-yourself home project he'll be putting in his video, but I'm sure you'll find out soon. As always, check out our good friend Dred Funn at dredfunn.com and youtube.com/Dred Funn. Our thoughts are with Fred and his wife right now. She is in the hospital. It's nothing serious, but as with anything, anybody's in there for anything. Our thoughts are with him. So Fred, Daz, our thoughts are out there with you. And we will be back next week with a show on something. I don't know if it'll be triangles.
I have to go to the music store.
Be quiet. But it will be something. See ya!